Welcome to Face to Face. We have with us a young author, Alam Faizli. Welcome, Anas, who is currently in the oil and gas industry. He has just written a book called Rich Malaysia, Poor Malaysians. It's basically essays on energy, economy, and education, and obviously issues that are very hot topics at the moment in this country. And he's also pursuing a doctorate in business administration at the moment. Well, Anas, will go right in. Why did you write this book, Rich Malaysia, Poor Malaysians? The title itself says it. Why did you write this book?
When I started writing my first essays on energy, I wrote about the oil and gas industry.
Okay.
I believe that the public needs to understand, and I want to contribute to help them understand about the oil and gas industry, because there is so much confusion out there. They are confused of what really is happening in the oil and gas industry. And
so what kind of confusion? What kind of confusion are you talking about? Ownership?
A simple example would be, I remember in an LRT, when the price of petrol goes up, and people are angry at those wearing Petronas shirt.
Okay.
So I felt pity for them. And people are always blaming Petronas for every single thing in Malaysia.
Right.
So I wrote an article in the book. I talk about is Petronas an ungrateful child of Malaysia?
Right, you did, yeah.
So I throw some questions, and I tell the reader how Petronas operates in terms of royalty, in terms of the exploration blocks, and how the money is then contributed back to the government.
So you were sort of defending Petronas at
I
that
am
time.
sort of throwing ideas, asking questions, and of course there are a lot that Petronas can do better. There are a lot, but I see in Malaysia they are getting discredited for many things that they should have been credited for. So, yeah. Yeah.
So we'll talk about Petronas more. At the moment, when you say Rich Malaysia, Poor Malaysians, and then you have the forwards by top opposition leaders, Nurul Izzah and Syed Hussein Ali, and is this an opposition's take? Is this book an opposition's take on the economy?
I would say it's there are two leaders that I respect and admire, representing two different generations, the baby boomers and the Gen Y. But to say that the book itself is a political take is unfair, because that is not the way it was put, because the book brings perspective from someone who is not a political player. Are
you a political party member? Are you a PKR member?
I'm not a political player, so I've participated in few NGOs like Bantah TPPA, Blind Spot, and formerly I was involved with the FTN. So this book represents an ideas of what I'm trying to bring a fresh perspective in terms of energy, economy, and education. For example, in the energy section, I wrote about the higher royalty versus state ownership. If you are saying I'm towing along party line, I would have supported Rafizi's 20% royalty. But what I wrote in this book, instead of increasing the 5% royalty to 20%, I was proposing that the Petronas ownership is given to the state, say 1 or 2%. Because to me, it is not practical to increase the royalty to the state, because the beauty about royalty is that you take from revenue. So let's say Petronas make $1. Imagine $1 money. If 20% royalty, they will immediately take 20 cents.
So
prior to cost, prior to...
Yeah, so there's nothing that they can keep.
Yeah, so I was proposing, instead of that, give them ownership of Petronas, say 1% or 2%.
So you were looking more in the long run.
In the long run. And then the state governments will have ownership of Petronas, and they would want Petronas to flourish more rather than just taking taxation money.
Right.
For every production.
Yeah, and speaking of Petronas, giving back to the society, to the people, and also at the same time maintaining the workability of Petronas. I mean, that's what you're saying. Do you, at the moment, the problem is Rakyat has yet to reap the full benefits from Petronas, not only royalty but in other ways. So, and at the same time, do you know where the benefits have gone to? Your book does not really say that.
I see.
Yeah.
The book explains how the money is channeled to the government.
Yes, it does.
From Petronas inception in 1974 towards as of last year, Petronas have contributed over 732 billion to the government.
Right.
So people always like to segregate between the money Petronas gave to government and the government's income.
Yes.
I would like to see it's just one basket.
Right.
It's just revenue. So the onus of spending the money is on the government, not on Petronas.
Right.
Petronas have done their job.
Right.
They've delivered 732 billion.
So
ringgit.
blame go straight to the government, not Petronas. That's what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is how the money is spent is not within Petronas.
Okay, so it is not for Petronas to spend the money.
Yes.
Yes. So now you're saying if people are going to complain how the money is spent.
What Petronas is spending, just like any other corporation doing their corporate social obligations, unlike other companies. That's how I see it.
Right. So in managing its oil and gas companies in Malaysia, with Malaysia managing the oil and gas companies to earn a higher revenue, obviously Petronas has done well, right?
For the past 30 years, Petronas have policies that try to bring smaller companies and try to bring technology transfer from outside.
Right.
So they have the VDP programs, they have the Petronas license program. So in essence, the idea is for Petronas to cultivate these small companies to become international players.
Yes.
So in the book, I question, are they doing this enough? And I have also questioned some policies.
So are they doing it enough?
To me, they are doing. It's a complicated issue actually.
Okay.
I mean, the policies are there. If you understand the policy, it is really to help this small. Okay,
the policy is there, but are they doing? I mean, are they putting the policy?
They're executing it, but the result is not as what we are expecting.
Okay.
Say,
you mean they can do better?
They can do better.
They can help more smaller companies.
Yes and no. I mean, the smaller companies like these VDPs, not many successfully graduated from the program, and there are ways that we can improve the system.
Right.
And in the book, I came up with some statistic. For an example, Singapore. Singapore is not an oil and gas producing nation.
Right.
But their service industry, oil and gas service industry, is twice bigger than our oil and gas service industry. So I feel that we should develop our oil and gas services industry so that when we no longer have oil and gas, we already have the
support system,
the industry to continue providing us the money and funding, and we can be internationally competitive.
Why
to go
aren't
out.
we? I mean, we have the resource now. At the moment, we have oil and gas. Singapore does not, but yet they are doing so much better. So why aren't we doing as well as Singapore? Where did this go wrong? Is it mismanagement? Is it complete corruption that's taking place where the revenue is going but it's not being used in the right places? Where?
I think it is not something that you can simply make it give a simplistic answer. There have been changes in policy since forever, and as an example, we look previously we have 7 big fabricators in Malaysia. We have Saim Darby Engineering.
Yes.
We have MMSC.
Yes.
And then recently now we have Sapura Kencana.
Right.
And when we bid out a project, Petronas or other PSCs bid out project to all these 7 fabricators, and they are competitively fighting each other.
Right.
So the price of the project goes down,
Right.
and their profits become smaller.
Right.
So when their profit is small, it's hard for them to expand. The case with like Korea, they have Hyundai and Samsung. They only have 2 super big fabricators.
Right.
So they make a lot of profit, and they manage to optimize their technology, and they can do cheaper and faster
Right.
than
So-
our local fabricators. So that's the dilemma. So now we are moving towards that. We're making Sapura Kencana bigger.
Bigger, right.
We
So-
make so that they
So
can.
we're focusing on certain ones now.
Yeah. So
okay.
like example, in the 90s, 2000s, their profit margin for a project can reach up to 30%.
Okay.
Now they can only get like 5 to 10%. So it's
All right.
becoming more difficult and competitive.
Right, right.
So the dilemma is there. So I think it takes for Malaysia to move forward. We need more innovation and technology.
Right, right. So that said, we'll wrap up. We'll come back more to that. We'll wrap up the first section of Face to Face.